Hey church, so on Sunday we carried on our series on others. What does it mean to raise the stakes for the sake of others in our lives? I wonder, we're in our fourth week now with this series, I wonder in what way you've raised the stakes over the last few weeks. You know, have you sent out an invitation that you wouldn't normally have done? Have you sparked a conversation with somebody, a colleague, a family member in a way that perhaps you haven't done before? Maybe your social media status, you've put something on there that just demonstrates your faith and the good news that exists within each and every single one of us. We are accountable for that good news. We're responsible for that good news that's within each and every single one of us. Part of the journey of our faith is recognizing that responsibility. Just like a child recognizes the responsibility and a sense of ownership as a parent teaches them. Simple things like picking up your clothes or putting the dishes away are simple moments and processes of maturity that where one day you hope and pray, you really hope and pray, that child will then begin to do that naturally. As it is in the natural, so it is in the spirit. That each of us, as we grow, we begin to grow in our responsibility and our accountability for the good news of Jesus within each and every single one of us. You carry good news. Hear that today. You carry good news. And we need to steward that well in our lives. There's some famous stories. Matthew 25, we see Jesus tells the parable of the talents, where you have three guys. You have one guy who gets 5 bags of gold, another guy gets 2, and then another guy gets 1. You might be familiar with the story, but the two guys, with the one with 5 and the one with 2, they go away and they double their investment. They realise the level of investment that's been put within them, and they steward it well. They double that investment. They're accountable for it because they know the master's coming. They know he's returning home, and they want to double what's been invested within them. The guy with 1 talent, it's almost like he dismisses the talent. The Bible says that he buries it, that he doesn't invest it. He literally does nothing with it at all. Do you know, there can be many reasons why we don't do something with what God's put in us. We can make excuses. The guy with 1 talent made excuses. You know, I wonder what your reason or your excuse might be not to steward well what God's put within you. Jesus has put something in you. He's put something of gold within you, and it's our responsibility to acknowledge what that is, but to steward it and grow it in our own lives. Jesus tells another story, and in fact it's not a story, it's a true account of the feeding of 5,000 men. There are many more women and children. And in that story, the disciples, many of them have been following Jesus all day. This huge crowd of people have been following Jesus all day. The disciples say to Jesus, Jesus, we need to feed these guys or we're going to send them home. And in fact, the encouragement of the disciples is send them home. Send the crowd home because they're tired, it's been a long day. Jesus turns to the disciples and he says, you feed them. You feed them. They didn't have a packed lunch between them, but yet Jesus says, you feed them. And they're kind of a bit awkward not knowing, but you see, Jesus knew what he had already given them. He knew what he'd placed around them, and he used the resources at his disposal, same disposal as the disciples, and he fed that group of people. You see, Jesus will not ask you to do something that he's not already given you. He's given you gold. He's given you investment. He's put stuff within you. It's our responsibility to grow, to be accountable, and to steward that well.